Do you want to relax while painting? Are you looking to explore your creativity but don't know how to paint or draw? Or you stare at a white piece of paper and don't know what to do? Then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Adrian, an award-winning artist with over 20 years of experience working in different media. I have exhibited in different galleries nationally and my work is collected worldwide. I believe that art does not have to be complicated and anyone can tap into their creativity. This is why I'm putting together videos such as this one, where I will guide you and show you simple ways to paint, draw, and be more creative while helping you relax. So let's get started. Here's a list of all the materials you will need. An all-media sketchbook, you can tell because the pages are a bit thicker and smooth. Brushes, you're going to need a few different size brushes, a few large and a medium square brush, a medium round brush, and a detail brush. A black Sharpie marker for details. You will also need a plastic cup with water to clean your brushes and a paper plate to pour the paint. These two things make cleanup super easy. A few acrylic paints, cadmium yellow, gray, light blue, violet, light blue, and prism violet. We are going to start by taking a deep breath. Release all the tension in your body. Do this a couple more times if you need to. I'm going to start with a background color. I'll use purple on the right side and gray on the left. I use a large wide square brush to apply the color. But first I'm going to dab it really well in paint so that it can spread evenly on the page. If you watched my last video, you will notice that this is another way to apply color over a large area. It also uses more paint, but I wanted to share both techniques with you. Start with the edges and work your way in. I stroke towards the edge and not against it because I don't want the paint to bleed and end up on the other side of the page. Do the same on the other half of the page with gray acrylic paint. Depending on the opacity of the paint, you may need a second coat to make the purple solid. Wait for the first coat to dry very well before you start the second coat. I then use a craft dryer to dry all the paint. Check that the paint is dry before the next step. Of course, you're not in a hurry, so take this time to breathe and relax and reset your mind. You can also pause this video at any point. If you want to have some music playing in the background, something that gets you in the mood to paint and unwind, go ahead and do that. I'm not playing any music so that you can have something playing that is of your preference while you listen to my voice. Using the light blue violet acrylic paint and another square brush, take your hand and make a large circle like this on the gray background. The motion to make the circle comes from your shoulder and elbow and very slightly from your wrist. Notice that my hand is pretty stationary. Make a large circle on the gray background and fill it in. And make another circle on the purple background. Place them in a similar place to where I made mine, but don't worry about being exact. Also, the circles don't have to be perfect, but make them solid and fill in every gap. They're different sizes as well. Add a smaller circle on the purple background and a smaller one on the gray background for a total of 5 circles. A little tip, odd numbers of shapes always flow better on a design. Make sure everything is dry before moving on to the next step. Now, squeeze a bit of yellow and dab a medium square brush in it. My yellow is a bit translucent, so part of the background shows through, but that's okay. It adds a bit of dimension. Make 3 circles of similar sizes and place them about the same place I have mine. Notice that some are overlapping with the circles that we just made, and that's okay. Use your wrist to twist your brush and close that circle. For this next step, grab your medium round brush and dab it in light blue paint. We are going to make smaller blue circles like this. 5 on the gray side, and we're going to put them kind of close together and mostly inside the larger circle we made on the last step, except for one. This is so we can create visual movement, variety, and rhythm. We are also going to add 3 on the other side on the purple background, but we are going to spread those apart and have one on the edge of the circle so it overlaps it and looks like it's crossing. Changing placement like this creates a more dynamic and visually interesting layout. It also makes the eye move around with the different objects so that it's not fixated only on one spot. I am going back to the purple color, and with a medium square brush, I am going to make squiggly lines on the edge of the page like this. Then I go to the top of the page and do the same, but make them shorter and only add 3. The next thing is to add some details. With the fine brush, make a squiggly line that follows the movement of the purple lines you just made, using light blue paint. Do this with all the lines. All these little details add visual interest to our design. If you are enjoying this video, please like it. This small act helps me tremendously. If you want to see more of my tutorials, subscribe by hitting the button below. Share it with your friends and with anyone that you think may enjoy becoming more creative. I want to reach as many people as I can, and that is only possible with your help. Painting and drawing is a great way to unwind and use a different part of your brain that helps you reduce stress and helps you concentrate. I really hope that you're enjoying these videos. Okay, make sure everything is dry before moving on to the next step. The next step is a pattern of dashes in a horizontal arrangement. We're going to use the square medium brush and dab it in light blue paint. Simply press the brush down firmly so that the entire edge of the brush makes contact with the page. Then lift the brush. Repeat this several times until you have a dashed line. Start another line at the top, but this time start it so that the lines are stacked almost like bricks. Since these are free forms, you can play with how long or short your dashed lines are. I'm placing them over the purple background on the blue circle and going across it. You need to dab the brush in paint in between strokes to make consistent marks. I am doing this on several spots on the page, each time taking the liberty to go longer or shorter with each dashed line. The variety of the lines and the placement near the edge of the page makes the composition more interesting. You can follow along exactly how I'm placing these marks, or you can take some liberty and put the dashes wherever you think they would work on the page. You know the cup with water? Make sure that you're using that to put your used brushes in so that they don't dry with acrylic paint while you're working. That way you can wash them with soap after you're done. You can also use the water to rinse the brushes, but if it gets too murky, you may need to swap the water for clean water. Now check that everything is dry before this next step. we're going to use a fine tip black Sharpie marker. We're going to make some flowers similar to the ones on the last video. If you haven't watched the last video, I recommend that you do. These flowers have 5 petals. I start at the center with a small circle and then start drawing each petal around the circle. You may need to adjust the width of each petal to make sure all 5 fit. If you only fit 4 petals, that's fine too. You're having fun, and giving yourself grace to not be perfect is part of this exercise. Add a dot in between each petal, like so. Do this on all the light blue circles. Now I'm going to add a circle around each of the dashes on those lines that I made over the gray background, and I'm going to add a dot in the center. Why am I doing that? Because I want to treat those slightly different than the dashes on the right side. It's about creating variety within similarity, because that adds interest to the design. And because black is more visible on the gray background than it is on the dark purple background. So you can see what I'm doing and you can follow along. I'm definitely speeding up through some of the steps so that I can keep the video concise, but you do not need to rush and you can take your time. You can also do this in different sittings. If you find that this is taking too long and you need to move on to something else, the beauty of these videos is that you can pause it, leave the project where it's at, and you can always come back at a different time to move on to another step or to finish the video completely. So don't feel like you need to finish everything in one sitting. This took me about a full hour, and really the details is what takes the longest time, but it's also what gives you that time to really unwind and really relax through the process. So just try to enjoy everything that we're doing and don't feel like you need to rush. The last detail I am adding is to these yellow circles. I am making those flowers as well. And I am starting with a larger circle, and inside I am putting lots of dots. Then I'm going to make a spiral outward to represent the flowers or the petals in the flowers. I did not say this was Realism 101, so do this with the other 2 circles and that's it. You are done. You have reached the end of another guided creative exercise with me, Adrian. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please share with friends, like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and if you do this project, send me a picture. I may feature your work on a future post. Thanks for watching.